So let us see today the factors influencing the combination of extension teaching methods. So factors. So while using extension methods, what are the factors you should consider to select the appropriate teaching method? Factors influencing selection and combination of extension teaching methods. Sometimes you need to use only one channel. Sometimes you need to use more than one channel. So how to select how to combine by selecting two or more channels to make more impact. No single rule of thumb. There is no thumb rule, single thumb rule. No single rule of thumb can be given for selection and use of various extension teaching method to ensure success in all situations. There is no rule to select appropriate uh, teaching method or combination of teaching methods in a particular situation. However, some guiding principles will help in general. However, there are some guiding principles which help in general, which are useful in general. So basically, the individual contact method furnish most direct opportunity for influencing the people effectively. Individual contact methods like form and immediate result demonstration, full form demonstration. So that gives the opportunity to influence the people directly, direct opportunity for influencing the people, form and immediate. But they are very costly method. It is very difficult to reach large number of people. They are very effective. Individual contact methods are very effective in influencing the farmers, but they are very costly. Basically, the individual contact methods furnish most direct opportunity for influencing the people effectively, whereas all other methods of group contact methods and mass contact methods are dilution or compromises. So these are the compromises. Due to unavoidable circumstances. We go for group contact methods and mass contact methods because individual contact methods are costly. So in order to and they can reach only less number of people. So in order to reach more number of people within a short period of time and reduces the cost of extension worker, we go for group contact methods and mass contact methods. All other methods of group contact and mass procedures are dilution or compromises created by the pressure of necessity, pressure of time, pressure of finance. So we must reach more people, teach them more often. We must reach more people, teach them more often, and keep down the cost per contact. So we must reach more number of people. At the same time, we must reduce the cost of extension work. So in order to get more effective results, in order to get more impact, the extension worker should select appropriate teaching methods in order to get more effective result, or in order to influence the people more effectively. The extension worker should select appropriate teaching methods. Extension worker should have suitable combination of selected methods. He has to select appropriate methods, and he should have suitable combination of selected teaching methods. Suitable. He should combine suitably. For example, I am using board, I am using PowerPoint sometimes I am using photographs in the classes. So suitably combine, suitable combination of selected methods and use them in proper sequence. So after selecting two or more teaching methods and use them in a proper sequence. So as to have the repetition in a variety of ways. Sometimes I am using the PowerPoint to show the same message. So same message sometimes I used to teach the students with blackboard. So same time sometimes the same message I used to teach the students through some of the attractive photographs. So combination. Use them in a proper combination so as to have repetition in variety of ways. So these are the factors. There are 9 factors here. There are good number of factors. Here I have listed only 9 important factors to be considered while selecting the teaching methods. Factors influencing the selection of teaching methods. First one is teaching objective. So looking to your teaching objective, keeping in mind the objective of your teaching, you have to select appropriate teaching methods. The nature of change you want to bring, what change you want to bring through teaching. So that is behavioral changes expected in the people. What changes you want, whether you want to create awareness, whether you want to change the knowledge, whether you want to change the attitude, whether you want to make them to adopt the practice. So what behavioral changes is expected in the people? Do you want to bring about changes in knowledge, changes in attitude, changes in skills, changes in actions? So what is your aim? Whether you want to make them to adopt the practice. If you want to create the knowledge, you can go for create awareness or knowledge, change the knowledge, you can go for mass contact methods. If you want to change their attitude, you go for group contact methods. If you want to make them to adopt the practice, so you should go for individual contact method. If you want merely to inform or influence large number of people slightly, you should use mass medias such as radio, TV, newspaper, etc. If you want merely to inform or to influence large number of people slightly, so you should use mass media. Just you want to make aware, or you want to change their knowledge. If you want to influence relatively small number of people or group of people to make maximum improvements. So if you want to, for example, dairy farmers, usually dairy farmers are small. If you want to influence dairy farmers, if you want to influence relatively small number of people to make maximum improvements, resort to individual contact methods. You should go for individual contact method. If you want to influence relatively small number of people, if you want to influence in a village, on 10 to 15 farmers, so you can, under such situation, it is possible to meet 10 to 15 farmers in a day in the particular village. So if you want to influence relatively small number of people to make maximum improvements, resort to individual contact methods whenever you want to teach complex technologies. So under such situation you go for. So if you want to change attitude, arrange for group discussion or work through village leaders. If you want to change their attitude, so under such situation, through group, teaching the people in the group, we can change. So if you want to teach the skills, use method demonstration. If you want to show the worth of the technologies, you should go for result demonstration. So this is the selection of teaching methods depends upon objective of your teaching. Then subject matter to be taught. Subject matter. The selection of the teaching methods again depends upon the nature of subject matter being taught, whether it is simple or whether it is complex. Sometimes if the farmers are already practicing some technologies, if you want to give some additional information, so under such situation you go for some methods, simple methods, TV, radio, where the new practice is simple or familiar, where the new practice is simple, your message is simple and familiar. If the farmers are already practicing, that is similar to those already being followed by the farmers. If your message is similar to the what the farmers are already proving, the news articles, radio, TV, circular letters, mass media channels are effective, where the new practice is simple or familiar, that is similar to those already being followed. The news article, radio, TV, circular letters will be effective. Whereas the complex or unfamiliar practices, if you are giving complex message or unfamiliar message, will require face-to-face contact, that is farm and home visits, written materials, audio visual aids, result demonstration, method demonstration, etc. To teach simple technologies, which one is already practicing by the farmers, you can go for mass contact. If you want to teach complex technologies, you go for individual contact methods or mass contact methods. The nature of the audience, usually the farmers are heterogeneous group. The nature of audience, individuals and collective differences of the audience. That is, you should keep in mind individual and collective differences of the audience. Usually the rural people are heterogeneous. Rural people are very greatly in their needs, interests, knowledge, attitude, skills, education, training, education, age, income level, social status, religious beliefs, intelligence, etc. So rural people vary in these aspects. Some are intelligent, some are highly educated, some are illiterate, some are landlords, some are smallholders. So like this, rural people vary greatly in their various aspects. Some are progressively seeking change and others are slow to change. Some farmers wants to change. They want change. They want to change. They want to adopt improved practices. Some people, they want change, but they adopt slowly. Some people do not want. They just register changes. They are called as traditional minded. Some are high minded, while some are ear minded. Some people just by hearing to the improved cultivation practices they adopt, while others, after seeing some adopt by seeing the technologies, while some people just by hearing the message they adopt. So these individual and collective differences influences the teaching approach. So you should keep in mind the audience, nature of audience, then size of the audience, number of people to be addressed, number of people you want to address, number of persons to be covered. The individual and group contact methods are slow and cannot cover large population in a relatively short time. Individual contact methods, though the individual contact methods and group contact methods are more effective method of teaching, but these methods are slow and cannot cover large population in relatively short time. If the people are scattered in wider areas, if the people to be addressed are more or mass, so under such situation, we cannot use individual and group contact methods. Invariably, we should go for mass contact method. For instance, group discussion cannot be used effectively when number of participants exceeds 30. You cannot use effectively, you cannot teach. If the group contact methods is effective only when the participants are when the group size is less than 30. If it exceeds 30, you cannot teach effectively. The uh, method demonstration can be used for relatively small audience, while circulators can be used for larger audience. TV, newspaper, radio can be used to reach larger audience scattered in the wide area. Whenever you want to address larger audience, mass of people, you should go for TV, newspaper, radio. Hence, if the population to be covered is large and time available is relatively short, mass contact methods may be more useful. Mass contact methods such as TV, radio, newspaper, circulators are more useful. Whenever there is a sufficient time, the audience to be reached are less in number. So under such situation, we go for individual contact methods or group contact methods. Then the availability of the communication channel, accessibility, such as newspaper, telephones, radio, TV, internet, etc., also have direct bearing on the extent to which the methods can be used. Suppose if the extension worker is want to convey the message through radio, if it is not accessible, he cannot use. If the TV center is not accessible to the, he cannot use. So looking to the availability of the communication channels, so you should select cost involved. That means you should keep in mind the availability of the channels or accessibility of the channel. This is also one of the important cost involved. So some teaching methods involve more cost. Cost is also important consideration. in their selection, in the selection of extension teaching methods and use. Effective aids are relatively costly. For example, farm and home visit is effective, but it is very costly. Teaching each and every individual farmer is a costly affair. Result demonstration is effective, but again it is a costly affair. And method demonstration is effective, again it is a costly affair. So cost involved. So what the budget availability available with the extension worker to teach the farmers is one of the important factor. The extension workers familiarity with the extension teaching method, whether he is familiar in use of various teaching method, whether he is familiar, expert in conducting the result demonstration, expert in conducting the method demonstration, whether he is expert in writing to the newspaper, writing to the radio, writing to the TV. So familiarity, the extension workers familiarity with and skill in the use of several extension methods will also influence his choice and use of methods. Time available for conveying the message. Time available. Suppose some of the information are need to be communicated immediately, quickly. So under such situation, there is less time for communication. So invariably you have to go for mass contact method for both communicator and the receiver for communicating and receiving the message. Time. Then ninth one is last factor is basic facilities needed. Basic facilities needed. Some methods need electricity, for example, PowerPoint, for example, TV, for example, public address system. Some methods need electricity, dark room, projection screen, projector, etc. Hence, such methods can be used if such facilities available at place, at place and time when needed. So these are the important factors to be considered while selecting the extension teaching methods. Then lastly, combination of methods. How the method should be combination, different combination, different teaching methods, how to combine. For example, while conducting the result demonstration, we can conduct series of method demonstration. So thereby we can make more impact. Research studies show that people are influenced by extension education. People are influenced by research studies show that research studies show that people are influenced by extension education to make changes in behavior in proportion to the number of different teaching methods with which they come in contact. Research studies show that people are influenced. People can be influenced using more than one teaching methods. If wider spread is desired, people must be exposed to teaching. Wide, if widespread responses is desired, people must be exposed to teaching in different way. Here, the following statistics will further support the arrangements for the combination of extension. The following facts, following figures. Hmm, Following following statistics will further support the arrangement for combination of with the help of following data. People remember. Here, these are the outcomes of the research. People remember 20% of what they hear. 20% of what they hear. People remember 20% of what they hear. People remember 20% of what they hear. People remember 30% of what they see by hearing, hearing to the radio, hearing to the teacher, public speech, hearing to the lecturer. They can remember only 20% of the information. By seeing, they remember 30%. 30% what they see. By seeing the message, they remember 30%. By hearing the message, they remember 20%. So by 50% what they see, by seeing and hearing the message, they remember 50%. So 90% of what they see by seeing, hearing, and doing, they remember 90%. So you have to keep in mind. So by hearing, they remember only 20%. By seeing and hearing, if your teaching method involves, teaching methods involves both seeing and hearing, they remember 50%. Seeing, hearing, and doing. So thereby they remember, people remember 90%. For example, method demonstration. So there, the people can be involved. The people can be involved in conducting the method demonstration. So through that method, they remember 90%. So you should select the teaching methods in such a way that they involve seeing, hearing, and doing. Thereby, you can make more important. It is also proved that combined use of several different methods, combined use of several methods is utmost important in the teaching. By using different methods repeatedly, you can repeat the same information in the different sense. So as the number of teaching methods, as the number of methods of as the number of methods of exposure to the extension information increase from 1 to 9, the number of foreign families changing behavior increases from 35 to 98%. As number of methods of exposure to extension information increases from 1 to 9. If you use 1 to 9 methods, the number of foreign families changing behavior increase from 35 to 98%. The adoption rate and percentage of practices was high when more than 5 methods were used in combination. Adoption rate and percentage of practice was high when more than 5 methods were used as in compared to single or 2 to 5 methods. So therefore, if widespread response is required, if widespread response is desired, people must be exposed to teaching effort in a different ways. The repetition, but in variety of ways. So using different methods, you can repeat the message in the different way. Thereby, you can reinforce the message more effectively. See here, you can see the percentage of information retained. Just by seeing, this is one of the important experiment conducted. Just by seeing 6.7%. This is a seeing and hearing, seeing and doing, seeing and doing, seeing and doing 30, seeing and doing, seeing, this is seeing, this is seeing, doing and hearing, seeing, doing and hearing. Here, seeing, doing and hearing 49.2. So you can see the different combinations. The percentage of impact goes on here. You can see only 6.7%, 6.7%. Here, 37%, 37.49%, 49%, 89%, 78% to make 100% impact. This is seeing, doing, hearing, reinforced by reading, personal contacts, more hearing and seeing, indirect influence, etc. So like this, you can use more than one teaching methods to influence effectively the farmers. So this is about the factors to be considered while selecting the teaching methods. So with this, I am completing the teaching methods chapter. So in the next class, we shall see another chapter.